Texas for our 7th annual Affiniscape Users Conference. I tell you, crazy, crazy, crazy. I see a lot of very familiar faces. Some of you I've seen here for 7 years. Some of you I've seen in many other cities across America. Some of you I've run across in bars in Las Vegas. And I said, I know that person, but he can't go on context. It's kind of hard to put that face in person. But again, welcome to the office. Sorry the weather got a little cold on you. 4 days ago, we were barbecuing and sitting outside for Thanksgiving at 80 degrees. But, you know, that's Texas weather. See, if you don't like it, stick around 48 hours. But this is why I moved down here from Iowa, because I wanted to get away from this stuff. You know, I'm not moving back to Iowa because it's -10 right now. So anyway, Ginger wanted me to talk about in this opening what's exciting to me today. And to be honest, you know, this company, we're just started our 12th year, which, I mean, that's pretty exciting, but that's not what's really exciting to me. What's exciting is I feel today about Affiniscape like I did when we only had 15 employees. And I say that in a good way and a bad way. In a bad way, that the middle 7 years was painful. There was a lot of pain. And a lot of you that have been with us that during that time know what I'm talking about. A lot of mistakes, a lot of learning, but we always tried to provide the best service possible. We tried to learn as fast as we could and tried to deliver the best products we could. But today, I am, again, so excited about the growth of Affiniscape over the past year, and mainly in the staff. Every year, our staff gets bigger, of course, and we're nearing 100. Are we at 100? Where's Jill? Getting pretty close, I know. We'll be at 100 in a matter of days because we have 15 to 20 open positions. But hitting that 100 mark is huge and exciting. But it's more importantly for me, it's the type of people that we're adding today. The people that in a million years I wouldn't have ever thought we could have attracted as a company. You know, some of the places they're coming from. And wanting to work for Affiniscape and believing in the vision and the passion that we have for you guys and for helping really smaller associations, small staff associations. So, again, I'm as excited as I've ever been in this company. And I'll tell you, it's probably a year ago, we interviewed a guy for a senior role, and he's in this room, but I won't call him out. And after I got done talking to him, he said, you know, honestly, he said, I really thought I was going to come in and see the guy that founded the company kind of on his way out. He said, but you're so damn passionate about this company. He said, I want to join. I want to join tomorrow. And that really kind of gave me a boost as well. So the third thing is, I'm supposed to touch the mouse pad every couple of seconds to make sure it stays on, is connections, all right? We've tried a lot of different themes for our conference. We've had some fun times, right? You know, Willis dressing as, where's Willis? Willis dressing as Austin Powers a few years back. That was pretty funny. I was, what was I called? What was my name? With the bald guy? I wasn't Mini-Me. I was his Dr. Evil. Yeah, I was Dr. Evil. So we had some fun times, but this is what it's really about. I mean, connections is what this whole space is about, right? So I want you guys in this room to make sure before you leave in 3 days to connect with someone on our staff. And I want our staff to connect with you guys because I tell them every time they come on board, I said, this is not corporate America. These people rely on us. They depend on us. They want us to succeed. Right? They don't call yelling and screaming. They call almost begging sometimes. Help me, help me, help me. And it's hard for people that come from corporate America to understand that until they actually feel it. And that's really what this conference is best at doing. So connecting you guys with our staff and even connecting you with each other. I mean, we have our industry roundtables where you guys can connect and get to know who your peers are in other states that do the same things you do many days. Right? They're dealing with the same problems you're dealing with. So connections is the third thing that I'm really excited about today. And for those that know me, I can go on and talk for hours about what I'm excited about, but I only have 10 minutes. So Wendy's laughing at me. Now, the next part of this little intro here is, has anybody heard of a song by Ooh La La that says, I'm going to try to sing it for you, and this is going to be painful. I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger. You know that song? That wasn't too bad. Now, hey, come on, really. My 10-year-old son is going to be singing on Wednesday night for it, and you'll see how much better he is than I am. I'm excited about that, too. He's excited about it. But anyway, the point of that song is, you know, we never get younger, and we never will know what we're going to know, right? But the point is, you can know more if you are open to learning. I like to say there's really 3 ways to learn that we all learn in our lives. We go to school, and we all beg for the day that we get out of school, right? And we wonder how we're going to use the stuff we just learned. We go through the School of Hard Knocks, which has been our last 7 years, right? Learning by doing. And we learn by reading, or we learn from others that are smarter than us or wiser than us or have been through it already. But it's amazing how much pain we put ourselves through that we don't have to put ourselves through because someone else has already gone through it. But we're not open enough to listen to them or believe them, right? Believe what they're saying. So you guys all got this book, and our whole staff has read it. And I like to say today, this is the perfect title for a book, because today we are rich, and we're all here in Austin, Texas, in probably one of the most beautiful hotels at Christmas time in America, to be honest. Last night was amazing for those that were out there with just the activity on a Monday night was crazy in this hotel. But we're rich because we have jobs, we have families, we have our health, we have our friends and peers. But you have to be open to learn. I think this is the best way to learn, reading books. And I can tell you, over the last 7 years, I've made the mistake of saying I didn't have the time to read. And a guy I'll introduce later, I'll tell you, he was instrumental in getting me to focus on learning through reading. And there's so many good things there. So I have the honor now to introduce a man who actually wrote this book, okay, and wrote many books, and has already changed my attitude towards life in a very short amount of time. As you read the book and you read about Grandma Billy, it affects you, because everybody has a Grandma Billy. And everybody knows what we should be doing. But sometimes we read things or we hear things and we're just not in the right place to grab onto it and move into putting that into play, right? And that's where I've been for the last 7 years. But in the last year, I've changed my attitude about it. I read books and I try to put that stuff into play to make myself a better person all the way around. And today, and this whole conference is about that. It's about being open and learning as much as you possibly can from both, a motivational speaker that you're going to hear in just a second, and each other. But Tim Sanders has, again, traveled the world, and I think most importantly, Tim would, and I don't know Tim, I just shook his hand a couple minutes ago, but I would argue he doesn't want me to stand up here and say, Tim Sanders, he grew up in Clovis, New Mexico, and moved to Dallas, Texas when he was young, and went to work for a company owned by Mark Cuban called Broadcast.com, and sold to Yahoo.com, and learned and grew to be a senior executive at Yahoo. I think what Tim wants, and I'm guessing, Tim, so, but I think what he wants you to know is Tim has found his purpose, right? And his purpose is to help you find your purpose, help us find our purpose, because that's what's going to make our lives complete, and that's what's going to make us happy, and that's what's going to help us connect and continue learning as we go through the rest of our life. Talk about Kevin Bury, our new CEO. I'm going to introduce him in just a second and have him come up here. I want to tell you, I moved into a new neighborhood just barely over 3 years ago, and I literally met him almost exactly 3 years ago. And I know it was 3 years ago because the neighbor's having their Christmas party this weekend, and that's where I met him. So met Kevin at a Christmas party and started talking, and he lived around the corner, and he was at the time a CEO of a smaller company, here in Austin, and was going through a lot of the stuff that I had been going through as well. And we started walking around the neighborhood and just connected on really a business level. Sure, we've played washers and we've drank a few beers together, but when it comes to what we've gone through over the past, really 8 to 10 years, we were very, very similar. But what I found is that he kind of completed the stuff that I was very terrible at. And I said, I'm terrible at this. He said, I'm good at that. He said, I'm not the best at this. I'm pretty good at that. It's kind of guys like me that go out and think we can start a company and try to grow it. We start to realize the things that we're really not very good at. And those, I think, that ultimately fail can't find somebody that does those things better. And I thank God that I was able to actually say I'm terrible at that. I need to find somebody. And Kevin is the guy. And we spent a couple of years trying to figure out how he could come work for Affiniscape. I didn't have the money to pay him. He was going through selling a company to a bigger company. Then he went to work for HP. And I think because of that, he's learned a lot of stuff that really was even more valuable to us when the timing did become right. And in early 2010, I knew he was the right guy for the job just because we'd known each other now for a couple of years, and I knew I needed to move into what I was also good at. Because I wasn't doing what I was good at. I wasn't managing and leading our team and mentoring them every day. Somebody said to me, yeah, you can come in and get everybody excited, but then you're gone. That's what you're good at. Get us excited and then leave. right? But you can't hold us accountable because I get frustrated. I get frustrated when I don't see the service levels that I like to see, right? I'm definitely a service stickler. And when you get 5, 10, 20, 40, 50, 80, 100 employees, it's very hard to stay on top of it. So I needed somebody to help me do that stuff. So after a couple of years of talking, I convinced our board to meet with Kevin, and the rest is history. But he has helped me in the last year, really 10 months, put together a team that I know without a doubt I never could have put together. So I want to thank him for that. I want to introduce you to our new CEO. He's 10 months old, but he's new to the conference. So I want to make sure all of you take the time and take the advantage to get to meet Kevin throughout the next few days. And let's give him a big round of applause because he's gotten us where we are.
I'm really excited to be here, and I want to thank you all for coming and sharing the better part of your week with us. What I would like to do is take a few minutes and talk with you a little bit about the transformation that Affiniscape is going through, give you a little bit more background on what we're going to be focusing on going forward, and candidly, I'm not going to talk about the product, right? So Neil and the team will talk with you over the next couple days about what we're doing with the product, where we're focusing our energies from a development perspective. But what I want to talk to you more about is the background on Affiniscape and what I stand for and why we are going to be in the action and the motion that we are in, okay? So we talked about this Connections 2011, and Connections, Tim talked an awful lot about it. I was very, very fortunate to see Tim speak back in 2000, so about 11 years ago, and he made a very big impact on me, and it's something that I have been very, very focused on over the last 11 years is increasing my knowledge and increasing my capabilities as a leader, because I believe very, very much that if you want to continue to earn a good living and advance your career, you have to continue your learning, right? So if you don't learn, you can't earn, in my mind, right? So part of this connection then is understanding about how do you make yourself available to help, right? I talk an awful lot about helping others, and in fact, I tell people, and I quote Zig Ziglar here, I've had a very, very successful career. I've been blessed, right? For a farm kid from Ohio to now be a CEO of my second company and third startup that I've been associated with, or small company, it's a pretty impressive thing and something I look back on with a lot of pride. The reason for that, though, and I believe this, is at a very young age, at 19 years old, I read this quote and it made a major, major impact on me. It's something that I have absolutely tried to stay true to over the last 25 years of my career. Now that said, I haven't always gotten it right? I have tried to learn, to understand how to help people. I fumbled with it a lot in my 20s, but as I got to more and more senior levels in organizations in my mid-30s, I really kind of figured out what it was all about, right? And that candidly came down to a simple perspective, okay? And the perspective is, and this is the secret to my success and where you're going to see Affiniscape going in the future, is that it's never about me and it's always about you, right? And that was a major, major change in perspective for me, major realization, because I stopped focusing on what could I get out of helping you, right, to how could I help you and not worrying about what I got out of it. And it really made a big difference in my life, and it's now where we're going as a company is to put you guys first, your needs first, and it's all about then becoming, as much as we can, experts at providing the best help we can to you, all right? So, Adam talks about the fact that we spent a lot of time walking around. We walked the neighborhood because both of us, because we were running businesses that took a lot of our time, we didn't have a lot of time to exercise, so we decided that we were going to start walking this 3-mile loop around our neighborhood, and we did it 3 times a week. Over the course of a couple years, we really got to know each other very, very well. And as he said, some of the things that he struggled with were some of the things that I was a little bit stronger suited in, and some of the things that I wasn't as strong in, he was better at. But as we got to the point of my former company, which was acquired by NetSuite in 2009, we talked about, so what are you going to do next? And I said, Adam, I really want to see what I can do about this idea of mine, this purpose, as I talk about it and Tim talks about in his book. I about trying to make as big of an impact as I can. So I really want to go somewhere where I can make the biggest impact. And he said, well, I think you should really consider, he's really lobbying me hard to consider Affiniscape. I said, I don't know that it's big enough for me, right? I said, it's a smaller organization, and I was talking with HP at the time, and they wanted me to run this global organization, a division of the software group there, and I think we can have a bigger impact. And he said, all right, but I think you're a small company guy, Kevin. You're not a big company guy. I said, let me go try this. So I spent about 14 months at HP. After about the third month, I realized I'd made a big mistake. Right? I made a big mistake because I am a small company guy. I'm not a large company type of personality. I don't like the bureaucracy. I don't like, and this is the major decision criteria for me to leave, I didn't like the fact that I really couldn't make an impact because of the large organization and the difficulty in getting your changes implemented. So after I stopped traveling so much at HP, we started to walk again. And I said, I might be interested in talking with you a little bit more. And so over the course of about 3 months, a little over a year ago, started about Thanksgiving, we continued the conversation, and he said, look, I think you can make a big impact here, and here's why I think you should consider Affiniscape. And it goes directly to this point. I guess I have to build these up. When you look at the association space, more specifically the space that Adam and Affiniscape is targeting, right, in our offers of help, it's a very large space, although it's pretty niche, right? It's not the large nationals, it's not the groups that have a lot of staff, it's more the state and local level associations that generally have staff, as Adam tells me, some of our partners only have a staff of 1, right? They're it. They may have up to 10 or 15 or 20, but largely they have staff in the measured in the single digits, right? He said, but Kevin, they represent 180 different industries, right? There are more than 9,000 associations that we can help, but when you extrapolate that forward and you look at the number of association leaders and the number of members that we can help, now you start to get to a number that I get really excited about, right? Because I'm trying to figure out in my career, how can I fulfill what I have defined as my purpose, which is helping people reach their potential, right? How can we help more people reach their potential? Well, I think you all, and your roles as association leaders and staff members, are chartered with that very same message, right? That same purpose of how do you help as many of your members get value and reach their potential, right? So he said, I really think you can come in and make a big impact here, and as this graphic illustrates, we can take that group, that opportunity base of more than 10,000 members, or 10 million members, and really move it forward. I said, well, that's really exciting. Let's talk about what that looks like. And so one of the things Adam said to me, I'll share a little bit of my commentary back to him first. I said, Adam, and some of you may be surprised by this, I said, I'm just too damn old for this, right? I don't want to go someplace like I had at HP where it's a lot of talk, but I can't impact change, right? I want to do it the right way, right? I've had a tremendous career. I really am now focused more on giving back, and I don't really care so much about what the compensation looks like, but I really care about, can we make it the right place? Can we make it the very best place? And he got all excited about that. He said, let's do that. I said, okay, so we need to talk about what making it the best is, right? What is great? I said, unfortunately, good is the enemy of great. So what we really have to focus our energies on then is, how do we make Affiniscape great? He said, let's talk about that. And so it's interesting because in Tim's research in the slide earlier, it talked a lot about the fact that most companies throw their money at technology, right? And it's largely not a technology problem. It's, do you have the right people? Do you have the right culture? And do you have the right leadership, right? And so we talked an awful lot about what that looks like, okay? And so we are focusing then on transforming Affiniscape into one of the best places that you can go to work. You mentioned SAS Institute. Earlier this month, Affiniscape was recognized for the first time as one of the best top 50 places in Austin to work. That's great. That's after only 10 months of work. And we've built a tremendous leadership team and staff now that is focused on helping everybody else. And in so doing, our culture is changing dramatically, right? As we look to something that Adam talks about, it's, what is Affiniscape all about? And this is I think something he has wanted to do for years, and he's had some nice success with it. But I will tell you, going forward, this is the company, right? We are a group of people dedicated to helping you, our partners, right? We are dedicated to helping you add value to your members, right? We don't necessarily have all the answers today, I can tell you that, but we are going to figure it out along the journey, right? We are 100% committed to you in a way that I think will surprise some of you, okay? And what I want you to think about with your relationship to Affiniscape as you spend time here this week and when you go back to your groups around the country and in Canada, I want you to think about us as your team members, okay? So as Adam says, it comes down to, we are you. Going forward, I want you, my request to you, my ask, is that you all consider us to be your employees that you don't have to pay for, okay? How would you interact with your employees? How should your employees interact with you? Okay, because if we don't do that, you need to call us on it because we work for you, right? If we do a good job, then that's great. We're adding value to you. If we don't do a good job, we need to know about it, right? And this is not just about customer service. This is a whole new corporate culture that is others focused, right? You'll see some of the leaders of the Affiniscape team are wearing these blue wristbands, and they say servant leader. Something I believe very, very much in is that we are here to serve, right? In order to serve, something Tim talks about, and the one side of it he didn't mention, is that while we're all focused on helping, right, and that's culturally who we are, in order to be valued as helpers, you have to become expert, right? Because nobody wants bad help, right? You don't want to necessarily pay the most for it, but you want the very best help you can find. So what we're doing, and he talked about our commitment to learning, and I've talked about this myself earlier, is we are committed to learning as much as we can about your business, right, your associations. In order to do that, we need you to participate in those conversations. Help us understand, what else do we need to know, right? We are dedicated to learning. We've become a reading kind of organization. It's interesting, I don't consider myself to be a bookworm, but I was surprised by the statistic of what CXOs generally read, number of books. I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and I was reading about 20 books a year, right? Because I've been committed to this, how do I increase my knowledge? Because in so doing, I can increase my capability of helping others, all right? So my request to you is, as you make connections, tell us what you need us to know. Tell us what we need to know so we can do a better job helping you, all right? But think of us as your team members. Tim talks about a lot of different concepts in this book, and as I mentioned earlier, I was blessed and fortunate to see him speak when he had his earlier book, which is Love is a Killer App, and I will tell you, it's a must-read. Is he still in the room? Has he stepped out? Oh, he stepped out. So the highest form of compliment Tim cites in his other book, Love is a Killer App, is that you're a love cat, right? And a love cat is someone who shares their knowledge, shares their network, shares everything they are to help somebody else and puts that person first. I'm very proud to say that I'm a love cat, and as an organization, we are becoming a love cat institution, and it's all about understanding that today we are rich, right? Now, it's not necessarily in the financial sense, because we want to do more. We want to be more successful financially, but we are absolutely rich in that we get to work with great partners. One of the things Adam said to me over the 3 years that I've known him is how tremendous the relationships he has with you guys and the company enjoys with its partners. And that's exciting to me. And I think that that's going to become the foundation for what we do going forward. But going forward, the relationship goes to the next level, right? And my commitment to you as the newly minted CEO is that I'm absolutely going to be here for you and make sure that we are always doing what you need us to do. All right? It's not to say that I can solve every problem, that we can solve every problem right away, but I promise you that our commitment of gratitude and our commitment of generously sharing our knowledge with you freely is absolutely through to the core of who this company is. So, I mentioned to Tim earlier about moods, and he incorporated it into his presentation nicely, and I appreciate that. I happen to be a big student of the human mind, people, right? And as I tell people, I oftentimes don't read business books, I read books on philosophy, and I read books on psychology, and I read books on biology. People are like, well, why do you do that? So I say, well, so if you understand philosophy, you understand what people care about, right? And if you understand psychology, you understand how they think. And if you understand biology, you understand why they do what they do, right? If you get those three things right, you absolutely have a better opportunity and you're more impactful on your ability to help them, right? From this, what I've learned what I've learned about helps a lot is doing mood checks, right? So my request to you as you endeavor upon the next 2.5 days of working with the Affiniscape team is to always check your mood, right? My request is that you observe your mood and you try to focus on being in a mood of what if, right? You said, well, that's not really a mood. Actually, it is. It's called being open, right? It's called being speculative. Right? If you go into every conversation with a, what can I learn from this conversation and how can it help me, you will find you take a lot more away from this conference than you ever could imagine. The other thing that mood does, and Tim mentioned this, is it can shut you down very, very quickly. He talked about negative moods, and you'll notice people that when they have their arms crossed, they're generally being very, very closed off. So open yourself up. Open your hands. Turn your hands over when you're having conversations with people, because you'll find that they not only are speaking to you and with you in a way that can help, you're open to receiving it. It's a very important distinction that I would encourage you to look at.